We are officially at the beginning of the end to building the A-frame for Airbnb here in beautiful Caney Lake, Texas.
Always find joy in the smallest of things.
The drywall is hung in most of the rooms, and it's ready for the first stage of finishing. We're going for a smooth, flat finish to the walls and ceiling, and this is the very first step.
Hope is everything you need. You are hope. You are hope.
All right. Forgive the wet t-shirt here. I was just doing some plumbing outside and got wet. So I'm back at the A-frame for Airbnb here in beautiful Caney Lake, Texas on somewhat of a rainy day, but nothing wrong with that. It's always great to get rain. And I'm starting to do the finishing of the drywall. So I have my all-purpose drywall compound that I'll use to do all my taping and to do my repair work. I also have my corner bead, my vinyl corner bead, plus the corner bead spray adhesive to really get those on tight and perfect as I can. I also have the primer. The primer is really important because in the places where we have the white paper that's torn and now looks brown, I'll be using that primer to spray there as an adhesive, so when I go to put the drywall compound, it'll stick really well and be super strong. I also have my 6-inch and 12-inch knives. So I'll use the 6-inch for mainly taping and some of the corner work. And then on the second and third coats, I'll be using the 12-inch knife to go ahead and spread out the compound even more. I also have a 500-foot roll of tape, plus a tape dispenser that I can hook on my waist to make things really easy. Lastly, I have my skim blade, my kind of DIY skim blade, if you will, that I got from Lowe's. The blue part of it is from Lowe's. Everything else, as far as the handle goes and the metal piece I use as joining, I DIY'd that because at the time, the store did not have the handle attachment and I really needed it that day. So I just took it home and did a DIY. There you go. So I'm really elated because this is such a huge monumental moment and it's only getting us closer to opening. So that way you guys can come here and have some fun.
Could I believe in what my eyes cannot see? Or has the antidote to brokenness evaded me? Could I believe in what my ears have not heard? Or will the suffering that surrounds me have the final word?
All right, so let me start off by explaining why I have the confidence to finish my own drywall at a high level. So I have done a level 5, which is the top line premium drywall finish on a ceiling before, and this was kind of a big job. It was about half a house where I removed the popcorn ceiling and then I went back and I did a couple of coats of all-purpose and the +3 drywall compound on a house before. So it was a lot of work, but I used my skimming blade that I'm showing you here and the techniques that I use in this video. So to me, I said, you know what, if I can do a level 5 skim coat on a ceiling, I don't think I'll have too much of an issue with taping and doing some skim coating and doing this house. Okay, so let me give you my number 1 tip when it comes to embedding tape. That is to be very, very liberal with the amount of mud you're putting on the wall. I guess there is a limit to everything, right? As far as how much mud you're putting on the wall, but you do want to put a healthy amount on there. Here's why. Because if you skimp out on the amount of drywall compound you put on the wall, before you tape it, you could get air bubbles in the tape, meaning there wasn't enough drywall compound in that specific area on the wall for the tape, and instead of getting proper adhesion to the tape in the wall, what happened was the compound dried and it did not bond properly to the tape, so you got an air bubble. The big problem with the air bubble is that it's not even fully visible until everything dries, at least in my opinion. I don't really see them until the next day, and you go to put on the second coat, and then you're like, oh, okay, there's a bubble right there. So then you have to bust out the bubble. You have to then go apply more compound behind that. Some people take the tape all the way off and redo it. I just kind of spot check it personally, and I've noticed that works just fine. If you want 100% consistency, what I would recommend is buying a drywall taping dispenser. That way you have a unified amount of drywall mud already applied to the tape before you put it on the wall. That'll probably save you a lot of time. Now, here's the second tip. And you really want to use a little bit of muscle when you go and you have your taping knife, your 6-inch taping knife, and you're spreading that mud out on the wall ever so slightly. Use a little bit of muscle there because you really want to get that proper adhesion, or else you will get bubbles. Okay, so when you're kicking off your taping here, the first thing you want to do is look for gaps in the drywall or maybe holes. Listen, when you're hanging a lot of drywall, especially if you're like me and you hung a lot of drywall by yourself, I mean, the A-frame required over 100 sheets of drywall, right? So this is a lot of drywall, and I was hanging it by myself. There were a couple of spots where I dropped it, okay? So it had a little bit of a nick to it. So I had to go back and fix it. Or maybe I didn't cut the drywall completely square as I should have with my cut, so now I have to go back and fix it. So there's really a couple of ways that I went back and I fixed some of those areas. So number one was you can just use all-purpose drywall compound because it actually dries relatively hard. So it essentially creates a wall where there was no wall, essentially. So that's number one. I will say, pro tip, all-purpose mud, really with any mud, it shrinks a little bit once it's completely dry. So you have to kind of understand that and work with it. What I did in the areas where I put the all-purpose, if I had a gap, I would apply the mud, put it on pretty thick, try to smooth it out. And then when I go back and put the tape and put the mud over the tape, I would compensate for that by adding a little more, knowing it would dry. That way, when I came back in the morning, it was like one solid piece. Now, here's the second way you can do it. You can also use spray foam. So they have a spray foam at the big box stores that's literally called Big Gap Filler, which you can use in areas where you need a little spray foam. Love. Now you see me using this red spray foam here, and that's not for any specific reason other than that's the spray foam that I used to cover up the 1/8 inch gap of all the sheathing in the house. So sheathing on the front wall, the back wall, and both of the A's, the roof A's. That's what I use right there. So that fireproof spray foam. And I just had a few canisters left over. So what I did is just use that because I already had it on site, and I use that to fill my gaps. The cool thing about spray foam, as opposed to the drywall compound, is that it does dry relatively quickly. So you can put on spray foam and come back within 30-ish minutes, and you pretty much have a final set product. It's pretty hard. At that point, you can just take your multi-purpose tool, which I did. I had a wood blade on there. I also had a metal blade, but that's for another reason. Both of them work. It really doesn't matter. The stuff is pretty soft. And I cut out that spray foam anywhere that I had that gap. And after that, I just went liberally with the drywall compound mud, and I went ahead and slapped it on there and then screeded it out essentially while putting on the drywall compound. Okay, so the next thing is checking for your screws. There's some times where you're just in a rush and you don't put enough screws in a board, or you didn't sink the screw deeply enough in the board, so you have to go back and check for those things. When it comes to corner bead, this is actually my favorite. I love doing corners because it requires this artistic approach. And I guess you can say I'm kind of artistic. I mean, I'm building an A-frame. It's an odd house to build, right? It's not like your typical box, and there's kind of no thoughtful design to it. There's a lot of thoughtful design in this A-frame. And what I like about it is that you get pretty liberal with the mud at first. You slap on the all-purpose, right? A good amount. And then what you want to do is, I like to go from the bottom. You can go from the top. It really doesn't matter, but you really want to slide that mud onto the surface there. And I think the key is getting your blade about a 1/2 inch to 1 inch off of the corner. So you really get this uniform look as you go from the top to the bottom or bottom to the top when you're doing your drywall mud for the corners. Now, here's a pro tip. When the all-purpose mud dries on your corner bead, it's not going to look pretty. Let me just tell you that right now. You can stay in there and do your corners all day long, trying to make them look so good. The all-purpose mud is going to shrink on you pretty significantly, and you're going to have to go back and do a second and a third coat. Okay, with +3, but I still like it. There's something artistic about it, and it really ties your house together. Now, this is my first time doing corner bead, and I really did like the vinyl corners. I got the vinyl corner bead is because it's generally considered the better choice due to its superior flexibility. And it has a resistance to denting. Like, okay, we have to, this is a rental property, right? So if someone were to hit the corner of a corner bead on accident, right? People are human and they cause damage. Well, I've seen stories where you have to take out the entire metal corner because it's really difficult to repair in patches, right? Versus the vinyl corner bead is made out of PVC and it has a lot more rigidity, and it also has a immunity to rust, and it's just making it more durable and suitable for different environments versus the metal corner bead. So that's why I went with it. And to make life really easy, I actually went and I made a walkboard out of some scrap material that I had. So I'm standing on 7/16 sheathing that I cut down to size over, I believe it's just under 10 feet, a 10-foot walkboard, just under that.
This is great.
That I made. And I just did 16 on center framing. So I basically built it like a floor, and I just throw it between my two ladders. I'm able to kind of walk back and forth. I also use it up here where I'm doing the very top of the A. I walk across the walkboard to my big scaffold, and I'm able to tape off those sections too. So the A-frame for Airbnb here in beautiful Canyon Lake, Texas is truly coming together. We're almost at the end. The next goal is to finish the drywall, make it look beautiful, and then we are ready for the next stage of painting. Can you believe it? It's so crazy. We have come such a long way from digging the footings to throwing up the framing, and now we're all the way here, getting really close to opening. It's super exciting. So these next episodes ought to be really what I would consider the most exciting, because you really get to see this A-frame turn into a home, and it's going to feel great. And you will feel as amazing as I do being in the A-frame. So subscribe to the channel for more videos, and I cannot wait until you're here. See you guys.